All right. Well, you know what? I would say, why don't we get started? My name is Amy Bodette. Thanks to Stand Up to Cancer, I am a cancer survivor. And we have with us Sarah Kelly from Cancer Care.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Sarah Kelly. I'm the Social Work Internship Program Director and a Clinical Supervisor at Cancer Care. And Cancer Care is a national nonprofit organization that provides free professional support services to anyone affected by cancer. It includes individual support, group support, publications, and also education workshops.
What a wonderful organization. Um, so we're going to be talking a bit about dealing with the joys of cancer as well as the stress of COVID on top of all of that. So I just kind of wanted to give a little background of my story, why I'm here representing today. About 3.5 years ago, I went to get my first colonoscopy at age of 51, as you're supposed to, and had been seeing some odd intermittent symptoms, but the doctor said it's probably fine, but yeah, you should get it checked out. And turns out I had stage 3 colon cancer. So my doctor said all of my siblings should go get checked out as well because it was so bad. And turns out two out of my four siblings also had polyps pretty badly, including my 43-year-old brother. So had he not gotten checked out early, it would have ended badly for him, let's say. So I have been for about 3.5 years. I've had multiple surgeries, chemo, radiation, immunotherapy, all kinds of different treatments through the years. And the first actually phase 2 trial that I went on was funded by Stand Up to Cancer, and it was this amazing trial where they were combining immunotherapy and radiation, and it gave me just this amazing 10 months of practically side effect free, symptom free. Just it was incredible. It was such a successful trial, and that was all thanks to Stand Up to Cancer. And so when that stopped working, I ended up going through some phase 1 trials with mixed results. And last year, in 2019, they had pretty much run out of options for me. So I was told, go out, enjoy yourself, go on a last hurrah. So my husband and I went skiing in Europe, and I came back, and a week later, I had so much fluid around my lungs that I had a tube inserted. So it's just, one week I'm skiing in the Alps, and then 2 weeks later I look like a juice box with hoses coming out of me. And the tumors were just growing through my abdomen, and I ended up just really quite ill. And they had said, yeah, get your affairs in order. And my family all flew in from around the country to say goodbye. I ended up pretty much being bedridden, in a wheelchair. And then in August, I met with a surgeon just to see if he could give me some sort of relief, because I had so many tumors in my abdomen that I looked like I was pregnant. And it was just excruciatingly painful. And the surgeon said, well, good news, bad news. we can go in and do a surgery called debulking, where we try to take out as much of the cancer as we can. The problem is it's extremely risky and you may not survive the surgery. But if you don't do it, you're probably going to die in about 2 weeks. So, so what the heck? We went for it, and 2 days later they did the surgery, and happy to say it worked. But it ended up, so that was in September, a couple months to recover from that. Then I had to go through radiation because there was a large tumor in my chest that they couldn't get to. So 2 weeks of radiation, recovered from that, then went on a chemo that actually started really working and was shrinking what cancer I had left. So I went from my deathbed to, I actually in February went out skiing in Maine, and my husband and I were able to go to Cancun on vacation for a week, the last week of February, and I just said, "Well, this is great. I have fought and clawed and cried and screamed, and I've made it, and now I can go out and live my life." And then everything shut down. So so now I am homebound again, but feeling great and ready to go out and rule the world. The world's just not quite ready for me.
Well, Amy, thank you so much for sharing that with all of us. You are amazing and such an inspiration, and your journey has been incredible. So I thank you so much for sharing that and being here with everyone today. To everyone on the call, so this is really a conversation, and Amy and I, really encourage you to join with us. So, if you have comments, questions, please post them, and we'll respond to them as they come up. So please know we want you here with us today. And we're really going to be talking about, and Amy brought this up, what it's like to be diagnosed with cancer or even be caregiving for someone with cancer, and then dealing with a pandemic. We hear a lot, people use the word unprecedented, and absolutely. And Amy, I'm thinking about you, having gone through all of this, like the end of last summer, the fall, like going through all of these treatments, and then kind of coming through on the other side. This is amazing. You're feeling good. You're ready to go. And then all of a sudden you get hit with COVID-19. And now here you are kind of back at home.
Right.
So, for you, like how has this been for you so far?
It's interesting because I basically am a year ahead of everybody else with quarantining, because I've pretty much been homebound since March of 2019. So I'm expert at staying at home, except now I really want to get outside. So it's been, as the weather's getting better, it's a little easier because we can go outside and everything. But yeah, it's been challenging.
Yeah. And I saw, someone posted in here that, it changed the world. And it has absolutely changed the world for patients, caregivers, and everyone, kind of across the board. I do want to answer this question really quickly. Someone's asking if we'll be saving this live. Yes,
Yeah.
we will be. So afterwards, it'll be posted on the Stand Up to Cancer page, so you'll be able to see that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to address that really quickly. But, it has absolutely changed the world. And, for you, how has it changed your relationship with your medical team, going to appointments? Like, how is that different, or is it not? Like,
Yeah,
what's happened?
it is different. I live just outside of Boston, so I've been going to Dana-Farber in Boston, which is just, I'm so fortunate to live here. It's one of the most amazing cancer hospitals in the world, and yet Boston is being slammed with COVID. Not quite as badly as New York City as you're seeing down there, but it's really the idea of going into Boston, into a hospital in Boston right now is terrifying. So I've been very, very fortunate. The chemo that I'm on is an oral chemo, so they can just mail me the pills. And I've been going just to a local hospital for blood draws, so I can get my blood work done locally, just 5 minutes down the street. So my car is happy. I'm not putting any miles on my car anymore. And so I've been meeting with the doctor just on the phone once a month. And so that's been working out. I was supposed to get a CAT scan 2 months ago, and just because the blood work is actually showing up very, very good, very, very, very positive results, we decided that we could put it off for a couple of months. So next month, as things are getting better, I will actually go into Boston, get a CAT scan, actually meet with my doctor face to face for the first time since February, I believe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is quite a lot. And when you're going in, even for the blood draws, what is that like?
The first time I went in, I was really scared. And I'm in a small town, and there were not a lot of cases there, but they did have the COVID testing tent right outside in the parking lot. So I made a point of getting there the minute the lab opened. So I was really beating everybody, getting there first thing, and they really have things figured out now.
Good.
They have a hand sanitizing station right in the front lobby area. You go in, you get your temperature taken just 5 feet in the door. They hand you a mask, ask you all the questions, document where you're going, who you are. You're not allowed to have any visitors, and so that I got to feel very, very comfortable. And yesterday I went just for my monthly blood draw, and it was just, in and out, no problem. Just feeling more comfortable, as I think as everybody else is figuring it out, because this is new for everyone. It's new for the doctors. It's new for the administrations. So as people are starting to really get routines down, then it's just a lot more comforting. It's not a big deal. I'm actually oddly looking forward to going into Boston next month to see the doctor. And so I did see somebody had asked, how do you deal with being scared with things that are normally normal? And you just kind of take a deep breath, maybe have a glass of water, and really look, kind of figure out what your game plan is. And my husband had actually even said, when I was going to the hospital yesterday for the blood draw, if you feel like it's not the right time, if it's crowded, if just something feels wrong, abort. Just get in the car, come back home. So having a plan B, I think, has been very helpful for me as well.
So that idea, I love that idea of the game plan,
Yeah.
and having a plan of action, because there's a lot in this that feels like, okay, I have no control over this. There's this virus. I'm not sure what's happening with that.
Yeah.
I'm still having to go into treatments, or some people, their treatment has been delayed, and that creates a lot of anxiety, and fear. And so it's figuring out, okay, well, what can I do? Like, what do I have control over so that I can create a game plan? And I love that. I just love that.
Yeah.
And that idea of, like, if something is not quite feeling right, to stop and take a moment to like, okay, let me just see here, like check in with myself. Is this okay? Is this not okay? How am I feeling in the moment? And kind of moving from there. So that was fantastic. And
Yeah,
I can see here someone posted that they postponed their follow-up visit and it's
right,
hard to know what to do. It's really, I think it is really difficult to know what to do and how to handle it. And, I think maybe a first step in it is keeping that communication open with your medical team.
right,
So if you have a follow-up coming up, or let's say, you're not quite sure what to do in terms of like treatment planning, hopefully they've already communicated with you, but keeping that open so that if questions come up, you can, email them or call your contact there and ask them to help them, to actually have them help you, I should say, figure out what is your game plan.
right, right. And I've been in some wonderful group sessions through a cancer care place nearby called the Healing Garden, and we've actually been talking quite a bit about this, and even how do you ask someone how you're doing and not just not be prying, not be too invasive, but truly let them know that I do want to know how you're doing. So I don't know if you've got any tips for that.
Absolutely. And so I'm just going to pause for a moment just to kind of welcome our new joiners. I see a bunch of new people have joined. So I want to welcome you all to the call. We're here with Amy Boudreau. I'm Sarah Kelly, and we're here just talking about what it's like to go through a cancer diagnosis and the pandemic and finding ways of navigating it. So Amy asked an incredible question about like how do you ask someone how they're doing or if they're okay. I find that like cancer patients and caregivers in some way, shape, or form have this down pat.
Yeah.
And Amy, I'm kind of thinking about what you had said before, like you have been in isolation, you've got this, this, right? Because you've been dealing with a serious health issue for a while now. You've got some skills in coping with that. But that question of like how are you to ask someone is a tough one because we always have that response of I'm fine. Oh, I'm
Yes.
good, I'm okay. And it's sort of hard to figure out, okay, well, how do I ask it to where they know that like I actually want to know more or that I'm open to knowing more, whether they want to share that or not. And I think a really good way of doing it is just being present, right, in the moment, in the here and now. So instead of like, oh, how are you doing? It's like, how are you doing this morning? How
Mm,
are you doing today? As opposed to just like a general, how are you doing? And I find that that's helpful for people and it helps them figure out kind of how to answer it and they may feel more open to answering it in a more in-depth way.
right, right. And I like that putting kind of a time frame around it. So if you don't want to get into the big picture, you can just say, I'm having a good day today. Um,
That's it.
and
Yes.
and people kind of hopefully will get it. And because it is a balance, but I don't want to be known as the cancer chick. I don't want the cancer to define me, but I do know my friends and family worry, and they truly do want to know what's going on. So having that balance of I love that idea of the time frame. How are you today? So what do you suggest people can actually do to help patients and caregiving givers now with everything so weird?
Yes. So, and it's weird for everyone. So it's a
Yeah,
good thing I think to remember that it's weird for everyone. So the first part we talked about, which is having the game plan, and you can have the game plan. You can have your overall game plan, and you can have your game plan for like specific areas of your life. So the game plan around my treatment and care, the game plan around like how am I like gonna navigate just being at home
yeah,
and what does that look like and how do I stay sane in all of that? And so what I encourage people to do a couple of things. One, stay connected. So we talked about staying connected to your medical team. Stay connected to your people. And by that, I mean, yeah, friends, family, those people that are really important to you, staying connected with them. And you don't necessarily have to talk about cancer. I think this is another area where cancer patients and caregivers have a lot of like skills and knowledge because they've been going through this. So you don't necessarily have to talk about cancer or talk about COVID. I talk a lot these days about zooming out. Because if we're dealing with something that feels really scary or something that's new, our brains immediately zoom in to try to kind of figure out, okay, what are we going to do with this? And we forget about all of the other areas of our life. And that idea of not being defined by cancer.
Right.
Cancer is something that's happening. COVID is something that's happening. It's not who you are. You're not the cancer chick. Right, you're Amy.
Right.
And so it's sort of zooming out to kind of reconnect with the totality of who you are, the totality of your life. Yes, cancer is happening, COVID is happening, but here are all of these other things that are maybe incredible, amazing parts of my life. So reconnecting to that.
Yeah, yeah. So I have been trying to do more work. I've been incredibly fortunate that my company has been very understanding through all of this. So I've been trying to take advantage of all this time now and actually try to catch up on some of the work that I might have not been able to do last year. So what are some other thoughts about what people can do, because a lot of people can't be working from home, and
Yes.
a lot of people have kids at home. How do you recommend that they kind of find their own space and have their own me time?
Yes. So the first thing I'm going to say in this is structure.
Mm.
So create a structure to your day, have a routine. Some people love like scheduling and structure, and some people are like, oh, I don't want that. But even if you're someone who's like, I'm not into that, even like a basic, like I get up at this time every day, and I have breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it is, any of that structure is going to help. And maintaining boundaries, easier said than done,
Mm.
especially if you've got a lot of you in one space,
Yes.
right? So maybe you're trying to, do school with your kids, and then you're also trying to work or do a number of other things, and you're diagnosed and trying to go through all of that. It's creating boundaries around it. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, this is a big one because I think everyone's feeling overwhelmed with this. Be okay with it. I was talking with someone the other day, and they were really beating themselves up because they haven't learned a new language or, learned. His example was like, I didn't learn Spanish guitar, and I thought like, you're going through a cancer diagnosis, you're still going to treatment, which
Yeah.
is every 3 weeks. Like you're doing so much.
Right.
You're taking care of your kids. There's a lot happening. Like, do you need to learn the Spanish guitar right now? And if it's something that, yes, like you really want to do, I encourage, like, of course, make time for it.
Right.
But to not beat yourself up if you didn't get to it.
Yeah.
If you're feeling more fatigued, if you're really struggling some days to like kind of get off the sofa and get moving, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's part of it, a trauma response to have
Right.
those times where you're just like, whew. And so listen to your body. Yeah.
That was that took a while for me to learn. Just even before all of the COVID, just when I started treatment, and I just couldn't get out of bed, and just saying to myself, "That's okay. Your body is saying rest. My job right now is to heal. My body is saying to heal. I would like to stay in bed. Good." And so accepting that when I was exhausted, when I just couldn't get things going, that's okay. I was doing my job, and my job was taking care of myself. And that did take quite a while to get used to.
It's letting go of the expectations
Yeah.
that maybe we've always had for ourselves because everything's changed. And that happens with cancer. And certainly it's happening now with COVID. we've got a really good question here that I want to address. How do you mentally deal with going from living kind of day to day to being given a second chance and looking forward to the future? So, Amy, I'm gonna hand that one over to you.
That it was a lot harder than I thought. It was, I had really made peace with the end, and I took a look at my bucket list and said, okay, well, darn, I really wanted to see the last Star Wars movie, but that's not coming out for a couple of months, and I'm probably not going to make it. So, all right, if if I'm looking at my bucket list and that's the only thing left, that's a life well lived. I even got to see Hamilton, and but then when I got the second chance, um, it, it it's it was very difficult switching from that mindset. So where when you're first diagnosed, you're in a lot of denial of no, this can't be. I can't have cancer. Um, but then switching to, oh, I'm getting better. I might even get into remission. Um, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So, I would just make plans maybe a couple days out because I wouldn't know how I'm going to feel. Because, quite frankly, I do still have stage 4 cancer. But as I've been feeling better and time's been going on, I'm starting to accept it and make plans. And unfortunately, I had booked a trip to visit my sisters out in San Diego, and that didn't happen. But just being able to make plans and thinking about just what I'm going to be able to do with a second chance has been interesting. It's taking little baby steps, and I will admit when I survived the surgery, one of my first thoughts was, oh, I get to vote in the next election. So to actually think, more than a year in advance was amazing. So yeah, it's a strange sensation, but yeah. So but now with COVID, um, trying to find things to do, and as you had said, stay connected with friends and families. I've been doing a lot of video calls and video cocktail hours with friends and family. Those have been quite fun, and really just still trying to enjoy and trying to have as normal of a life as I used to be. But it is funny as the more I'm confined, and I've heard other people say this, I've turned into my dog. It's the mailman. Oh my gosh, the mailman's here. Oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? Oh, fantastic. And then kind of going back and, wow, that was exciting. I saw the mailman. So now when my husband Andy has just been incredible and doing all the shopping and taking care of me, and just uh, he's a saint. But he also has been protecting me where because he's been going out and he's seeing how things are. He'll say, no, you're not allowed to go to the grocery store. No, you can't do that, and protecting me from myself. So just the other day, he said, you know what? I need to go to Lowe's to get some plumbing stuff. You can go with me, and you can go to the outdoor garden center, but don't go inside. So this was literally the first time being allowed to go to a store since beginning of March.
Wow.
So I'm just like, I'm going to Lowe's. I'm going to Lowe's. I'm so excited. I loaded up my pockets with my mask and my hand sanitizers and disinfectants and get in the truck. And my dog's all excited. She's going with us too. And we're looking out the window and oh, look, there's a turkey walking by, a wild turkey. Yay, this is so exciting. And we're just having the grand old time. We get to Lowe's. I pull out my mask, and the mask is a little wet and feels a little funny, but it's okay. My hand sanitizer probably spilled on it, and I go into the store, and first person I run into is one of my best friends in the whole world, and I am in heaven. This is so great, but boy, my mask smells funny, and my face is now starting to burn. And I'm thinking, there's something terribly wrong. I don't think this was hand sanitizer. Then I realized when my dog saw the turkeys, she got so excited she peed on me and on my mask. But it's okay because I am out. I have a urine-soaked mask on my face and I'm still happy about it. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? I smell like dog urine. This is good for the social distancing. No one's going to get within 6 feet of me. This just works out, except it's really starting to burn. And so then I see my husband's looking for me. So I go in, I go track him down. And I see these two guys in the store without a mask. And they're told by someone working there, you have to wear a mask. And they kind of mutter and keep going on. And I catch up with my husband, and we're actually close to the mask-free guys. And I said, I am wearing a dog urine-soaked mask to keep from dying. And these jerks, except I did not say jerks, these jerks can't be bothered to wear a mask to keep from killing me. And at that moment, I realized I had completely forgotten how to act in public. I needed a timeout. I went back to the car. I sat in the car with the dog with the windows rolled down and said, okay, that I might have lost my going out privileges. But it just kind of shows that what was the most normal thing in the world is now just this wild adventure.
Yeah. And the other thing that struck me so much too is back to that, like, well, what's safe and what's not safe?
Yeah.
Can I go out or can I not go out? And, again, I would say talk with your doctors, talk with your medical team.
Right.
But if you're going out and you're being safe, to take a walk somewhere where there's not people, to kind of continue to engage in those things is really important. The excitement on your face when you were like, I'm going to Lowe's, like, yes, yes. But then also recognizing, and this kind of goes back to earlier, like going to the doctors, if something didn't feel safe,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
going out.
Me and the dog gonna
And
take the
taking
truck.
care. Yeah, absolutely. And taking care of yourself. But I do think that there's certain things like, again, the structure, staying connected with friends, staying connected with family, your medical team, but also like doing some of those things that feel good to you, but in a safe way.
Right, right. Yeah, it was just Memorial Day weekend. What do you do Memorial Day weekend? You go hang out with your friends in their backyard. So we did have
My dog had a strong reaction to that. He ran over and was like, we're knocking this thing down. We're readjusted. But yeah, Memorial Day weekend, like such a strange thing because all of a sudden here we are, like no barbecues, no people, no, like,
Right.
what do you do?
But I did actually, I went to a friend's house. They were having one other couple over, and I know these families very well, and I know what precautions they've been taking. And so I did actually, we showed up backyard, sitting around a fire. I showed up wearing my mask, and they immediately said, "Oh, we all have masks. Can we put masks on?" I said, "No, I'm going to go sit upwind of you guys." And we just really maintained distance, and they had hand sanitizer out for everybody, and everybody was frequently doing that. I'm just seeing, as someone asking if the meditation that's happened yet. It has not. We're looking forward to doing that soon. But yeah, picking picking people you feel safe with, and knowing what the situation calls for. And at one point, my friend's daughter came out and did eat directly out of the chip bag. So I just kind of mentally said, okay, no more chips. That's fine, no problem. So again, kind of doing normal things, but adjusting and coming up with a plan B.
Yeah. And one of the things too that kind of struck me is, just you're talking about how you're navigating like those kind of larger things. How are you doing like just in the day to day? Like how are you getting through the days?
Again, I'm very fortunate that I am working. So my husband and I both have jobs where we work from home. We have side by side offices. So again, I have my space. He has his space, and I have been working. But uh, the I think Zoom has just been the greatest thing ever for this pandemic. I mean, I'm getting together with friends. I haven't seen them in 5 years because they live up in Maine. I'm in Massachusetts. So guess what? We got together for cocktails the other night, without having to go anywhere. So just really trying to stay in touch with friends and family has been tremendous. And yes, my dog has been loving the whole quarantine thing. So she I was actually in meetings all morning, and she was sitting on my lap all morning long. And I'm actually surprised she's not here right now. But yeah, loved ones, both related and not. That's really where it's at.
Yeah, definitely. And I was thinking about too, like you were talking about a local group. Now, is your group, are they meeting virtually? Like how is the group doing?
Yeah. We used to meet every other week in person, and right when this was just all starting to shut down, they said, "All right, let's try this virtual stuff." And so we tried a few different platforms, and we ended up on Zoom. It was just easiest for everybody to do it. But we changed from every other week to weekly, and
Mhm.
it's I think we've actually become closer because we see each other more, and there's just even more in common now. We already had the common connection of everybody having cancer, and now we're all dealing with this on top. So and seeing each other every week, I actually look forward to it very much, just so I can see my friends. And we might accidentally talk about cancer a little bit, but really, it's just seeing our friends and seeing how everyone's doing. And we've been learning different coping mechanisms and different strategies from each other as well, because many of them are still going into Boston for treatments. So it's been very, very helpful to have my healing garden friends.
Yeah. I'm going to ask about the coping things. And before I do that, though, I just wanted to kind of briefly talk about like support groups, other services, because there are some folks out there that may not have the strongest supports,
Mm,
whether their family is or friends are far away and they're not able to connect with them virtually, or they don't have those really supportive people in their lives. It can be really hard, especially now,
right.
dealing with cancer and dealing with COVID. And so for those individuals, I encourage you to reach out. There are supports there. So Amy was talking about her local support group. There's certainly national support. So Cancer Care, we provide, again, support services for people. It's all free of charge. Your medical team is a great place also to start, because they may have referrals as well. So you can get connected, because I do think that connection piece is so important.
Yeah, and actually,
And
to give Cancer Care a plug, I actually did just sign up, and I will be joining their online support group next week when the next
that's
session
great.
starts. So I'm looking forward to that. It looks
Oh, I'm
like
so glad to hear it.
a
Yeah, so it's so glad to hear it. So, those supports
Yeah,
are out there for you. And then I wanted to talk about, you were talking about in your group that you guys are kind of like trading sort of coping and skills and things you can do. What are some of the ones that you find like particularly helpful?
um, a lot of them you've mentioned already. Having a routine, having some sort of support group. So some of my friends, they don't have friends and family nearby, or they're living alone. So trying to trying to coordinate just even getting food in the house. So some of that, the little different tricks, but a lot of like the online delivery stuff, those are now weeks back ordered. So things that they had been doing as normal before are now delayed. So really dealing with that. But some of my friends, their neighbors have stepped up, and she'll text them a shopping list and put some money out on her front porch, and magically the food appears. So it really finding some sort of support and someone else out there to help you out.
Yes, I think that's a huge piece of it. And, it's if we're thinking about like the game plan, sort of reimagining our game plan, I hear from a lot of people who are really independent, like I can't ask for help, it's not what I do. But maybe now like need that help. And so it's maybe rethinking that game plan, and
Right.
maybe of maintaining independence is actually reaching out for help.
Yeah.
And if you're not quite sure where to reach out for help, certainly reaching out to other organizations. You can reach out to us at Cancer Care, other places, to kind of think through and figure out some good ways of doing that to create that new game plan. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Because and there is still a lot of aloneness, again, with the hospitals not letting people have visitors there. I know the Boston hospitals, if it's your first visit, you can bring one person for support.
Yes.
But if it's kind of a repeat business, a friend of mine just went in to get some test results, and the plan was call her husband, who's sitting in the parking garage, so he can hear, but he couldn't get parking, until like the seventh floor below the building, so he had no reception.
Yeah.
So, she had the whole game plan, she had the support set up, and then just technology kind of couldn't let that all work. So being flexible and understanding that, best laid plans, we've got plan A, B, and C, and sometimes you got to go to plan D.
Yeah, that's it. And that idea of being flexible, I think is so important in this. So even like we're talked about routine and structure, creating structure in the day, even within that being flexible, I think cancer patients know that better than anyone, because of so many unknowns, you're sort of required from the point of diagnosis, sometimes before, to be flexible. But I think that that's a huge piece of it. So one of the things I want to do, because I'm just looking at the time and I want to make sure that we
Oh,
have kind of
yes.
time for, yes, for everything. So I'm just gonna kind of recap some of the coping techniques that we've talked about and ways to kind of move forward. And then we're going to go into a meditation. And
Fantastic.
I'm going to teach you a breathing technique. That's something you can use anytime, anywhere, anytime you're feeling maybe a little off or not so grounded. It's something you can use. But just to kind of recap what we talked about. So a lot about communication, right? Whether it's the medical team, whether it's your loved ones, friends, support system, reaching out to new supports. This is a huge piece of it, making sure that you have that as part of the game plan. Creating the structure, the routines to kind of help normalize things. Figuring out in this, like what works for you, what doesn't work. Zooming out, so seeing sort of the whole of your life and who you are and those things that are a big part of your life, you know, in addition to having to try to navigate cancer and COVID and all of those things. You know, staying connected to activities that are meaningful for you. And again, that idea of just making sure that communication is open.
Right.
So, you know, whether it's with the medical team, the family, friends, whatever it is, you know, making sure that you're doing that. And then the last piece is how do we connect to ourselves?
Yeah.
And how aware are we of like when we're experiencing a lot of different feelings? Are we aware of it, not aware of it? And what are some ways that we can kind of help ourselves? So I'm going to take us into a meditation just to kind of show you something really quick that you can do to kind of help connect to yourself, help yourself become more aware of feelings, and help to reduce any feelings of anxiety, depression, those things that might be coming up a lot for people right now.
Fantastic.
So we're going to begin. So let's begin. Just take a moment to allow your body to settle and, you know, get into a comfortable position. I'm going to adjust because I had my legs crossed, and I can see that eventually for me will lead to like a leg falling asleep. So I'm just going to adjust a little bit and make, you know, any adjustments to kind of get comfortable. And you can close your eyes, you can look downward, you know, whatever feels the most comfortable for you. The idea is just not to have too much visual stimulation. And then just take a moment. So we're going to slow things down a little bit and take a moment to notice how your body feels. So we're going to notice maybe the support of the floor and our feet being supported by the floor. And we're going to take a moment. Let's feel the way our body is being supported by the chair that we're sitting in. You know, so really feeling like gravity grounding and holding you. And if you can, take a moment to scan your body. Notice any areas of tightness or tension. So just take a moment to do that. And what we're going to do, we're just going to see if we can soften these areas. So, you know, it may be like rolling shoulders back, letting the shoulders drop, you know, wiggling your fingers a little bit if you have tenseness in your hands, loosening your jaw. That for me is an area that can get tight. So this looks weird, but a little of this to loosen that. There we go. Softening muscles around the eye. That tends to be a place that holds a lot of tension. And relaxing the belly. Just let it out. And by grounding ourselves and grounding our energy through the awareness of our body, it allows us just to simply be. And we're experiencing what it's like to be alive right now, what it's like to be alive in our bodies right now. Right? So we're inviting a sense of just being with ourselves and a sense of ease and relaxation. And we're not going to judge anything. There's no wrong or right. There's no good or bad. We're just allowing whatever is there to be there. You may notice also sounds, and they could be coming from your environment inside. They could be coming from your environment outside. You may be having thoughts about those sounds or something else. That's okay. We're going to let those just be there. Like everything else, it comes and it goes. So we're just going to allow for all of that to be there. And now we're going to take 3 breaths, and I'm going to explain how we do it. So we're going to inhale for the count of 3, and we're going to exhale through the mouth. So we're inhale through the nose, count of 3, and then we're going to exhale through the mouth and a count of 6. And we're just going to take time to notice the air as it comes in through our nostrils, and then how it feels as it's kind of going out of our mouths. So we're noticing the breath as it enters and leaves the body. This is called the 2-to-1 breath. So we're breathing in a certain amount and we're breathing out double that amount. So let's begin. So we're going to take a deep breath. We're going to inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pause. And then we're going to exhale through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to allow just a breath, a normal breath. See how that feels. And then we're going to do 2 more of these, so we'll do another one. So we're going to breathe in, inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3. We're going to pause. Then we're going to exhale through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to let our breathing kind of come back to normal. Just take a moment. And we're going to do our last breath. We're going to breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Pause. And we're going to breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're just going to allow our breath to return to normal. We're going to be breathing, just follow the sense of your natural rhythm of your breath. We're just allowing for that to be there. And just take a moment. And now we're going to slowly begin to reawaken. So we're going to allow awareness to return to our body. And we're feeling calm and relaxed. And just take a moment as we're allowing the awareness to return to our bodies to notice, how does the body feel? And at this point, you may want to start some movement, maybe wiggling your fingers to start, and maybe moving your arms and legs. So I'm going to just do a brief stretch because I like to do that as I'm coming out of everything. So we're just bringing an awareness back to our bodies, right? And now become more aware of your surroundings. So notice any smells, again, any sounds in the environment. When you're feeling a little bit more ready, open your eyes and look around your space. And then if you can, in these next moments, just take a moment to reflect upon your experience in the meditation and in that breathing, and notice what it was like. Notice what you feel like now. And again, we're not judging anything. Whatever happened for you when we were in that meditation was how it was meant to happen, right? It was a natural response. So we're just going to allow for all of those things. And this breathing technique, this 2-to-1, I like it because it's something you can do anywhere, anytime. Certainly if you're at home, you can take a moment to go slow and close your eyes and kind of do it the way we did today. But let's say you're at the doctor's and you're getting ready for a scan or your treatment and you're feeling really anxious. If you can remember to pull out that breathing exercise, it really helps.
Yeah.
Because you can do it. No one knows you're doing it, right? You can just practice in that breathing, and what it does immediately, it accesses the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and relax state. And you'll notice your heart rate slows, like everything kind of slows down, and we can bring a little bit of calm to ourselves, even in a really stressful situation. So I encourage all of you to use that technique when you can.
No, I can, just from that short amount of time, I can feel that improvement. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. I'm so glad. And that's what it's meant to do. And we're human, so like sometimes it works better than others.
Right.
But even if it works just like a little bit, it's usually good enough for that moment. So again, those are tools that you can use at any time. So I see we're up and out of time for today, but I cannot thank you, Amy. Thank you, Stand Up to Cancer. Thank you to everybody on this call for joining us today. Again, someone asked the question earlier, will it be sort of posted later, the live? Yes, it will be.
Yes.
So just know that and be on the lookout for that. And Amy, do you have any closing words for us?
No, I just, I really, really appreciate you taking the time. This, I think, was helpful for many people. So I really do appreciate your help. And thank you, everybody who watched. And we'll have this online very soon.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye now.